Hello, this is Veterans History Project. My name is Walter Little. It is March 18th, 2016. We're at Camp Withicum in Clackamas, Oregon, and we're here with Mr. Russ McBride. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
And could you tell us a little bit about where you started off? Were you born in Oregon?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Coos Bay, Oregon, and I lived there most of my life until about 1991. Then I moved down to Medford, and now we're actually living close to Grass Pass, but we're still in the Jackson County area in Medford. And I've been down there since, like I said, 91 until now, and we'll probably get on the rest of our life or something. So, yeah.
And when you graduated high school, did you immediately go out and get a job, or?
I had a job first before I joined the military. I was, my dad had a business that, it was a whale business, digging hand-dug whales up on the coast by the hand. Mm-hmm. And we did that for several years. And I did that for about the first year, and then I went in the military after that.
And you chose the Marines?
Yeah, I went into the Marine Corps in 1966.
Why would you choose the Marines?
Well, I think my choice, I wasn't really interested in the Navy because I got seasick and I didn't like being out in the ocean. The Air Force, I wasn't real thrilled about being too much in the Air Force. And the Army, they were fine, but I just felt Marine Corps, I'll give it a try, and what the heck, you know.
And where'd you go to basic at?
I went to basic at Camp Pelham, California.
California?
Yeah. San Diego, actually we was down in San Diego, started out in San Diego for the first 8 weeks. Our training was basically about an 8 to 10 week training. And compared to nowadays, it's probably around 16 weeks or so. But it was a short training because of Vietnam, what was going on at that time.
So once you graduated basic, you were pretty much stationed somewhere and then shipped out?
Well, we finished basic for the first 8 weeks. They shipped us to Camp Pendleton, which we had training up there for with the rifles and everything, and combat training and everything in that area. And then from that, we were actually required to go to Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. And they shipped us all the way to North Carolina, our whole unit. And the same day we arrived at North Carolina, Camp Lejeune, they tried to order us to Vietnam. So they had to ship us all the way back to California. And we got back to California, and then we were heading over to Vietnam at that time.
So the military's always efficient like that?
Yeah, oh, big time, yeah. Very, very efficient, yeah.
So when you were right there in Vietnam, where'd you land?
I don't know, my first tour over there, I actually did 2 tours in Vietnam. My first tour, I actually landed in Chulai, south of Vietnam, or Da Nang. And Chulai was a real small area that we were landed there, and that's when they were taken. They started dividing us up and putting us in different units to go out in the field and stuff. And they just basically said, well, you are going to go here, you're going to go over here, whatever, you know. They split us up. And myself and one other guy were picked out from the unit, and they said, you two are going to MPs. We were military police over there.
What was your MOS though?
Oh, 311, grunt.
Grunt?
Yeah. Right.
Cannon fodder, in other words?
Yeah, exactly. It's you know, it was kind of a surprise to me because being all that training, with all that training and everything, we were expected to head out in the field and be out there with the troops out there.
So you arrived, you landed. How long before you were at your duty station?
It's just right away. I mean, it's right there in Chulai, and they started. We were doing patrols in the communities down there and the villages. They had villages down there, and we had to do patrols and make sure there was nothing going on. You know, some of the guys come in from the field, and we had to make sure they weren't doing anything they weren't supposed to. And there's just a lot of stuff that went on at that time, and we were in charge of making sure that everything was smooth and going on. You know,
so you're basically policing the military, making sure that they weren't causing problems.
That too.
And then after you got done with that, you said you ended up serving in a prison?
Well, what happened about 2 months later, they took a few of us and they flew us up to Da Nang. And in Da Nang, just east of Da Nang, there was a lot of people didn't realize that there was a couple prison camps up there. One was the American prison camp, which is about 50 yards from the Vietnamese interrogation prison camp that we had. And I worked in the Vietnamese interrogation prison camp for the rest of my duration in Nam. And in that camp, we had 4 North Vietnamese Navy personnel. That was high-class individuals that were very intelligent and very well trained. And we were in charge of making sure, that they were going to be escaping or something, and so the other part was that at the time they were in there, they were in a different section of the prison camp, and then they would bring in North Vietnamese from all over the area to interrogate them, and that included anybody. It could be kids. They bring their families, and they had them placed in there, and they would interrogate the mothers and the fathers and everybody at that time.
So it was mainly the Viet Cong that you had in that prison were basically higher ups, you said? They were from the north?
These were from the North Vietnam. They were from North Vietnam. The other class of Viet Cong was the ones that were in South Vietnam that actually, you can find that they were out in the fields. They'd be working out in the rice paddies and everything during the daytime, but then they would be going into battle at night or something. They had weapons buried somewhere, and they would end up being, fighting us at nighttime and stuff. Yeah, it was like pretty incredible. Yeah.
And you did that for how long?
I was there for 13 months.
And you're still classified as an MP at this time, or?
No. As soon as I was left there, the title was just a short term until you left that area, or maybe you changed to a different company or something, or whatever position or whatever they want you at or whatever. So you could be anything from a grunt to an MP to whatever.
So whatever
whatever.
POW camp, what was your MOS, or what were you called?
Well, I was just a military policeman.
So you're still a military policeman,
Yeah.
But now you're a prison guard.
I was a prison guard, military police. Yeah. Military policeman, the whole title was basically, it depends on where they put you at. If you still held the same title, no matter where you were located. It did different duties is all it was.
Well, what's it like having an open prison camp where you have entire families coming in? I imagine there's somebody there that's not allowed to leave at the end of the day, and others that could.
Well, if they felt that there was no problem of them being connected with the Viet Cong or something, then yeah, they could be let go. But just like any prison, you're interrogated to find out who these people, what you're about, who you are. Are you connected with the Viet Cong? Are you not connected? Yeah, they have ways of interrogating them that we don't do it ourselves, but they have people that do that. We're just the guards to make sure that they're not trying to escape or they're not trying to.
So during your shift, you have a lot of interaction with these people then?
We talk to them a little bit, yeah. We talk to them. It's kind of like, you get to know them and you can deal with them a little bit. You can connect with them a little bit. A lot of them can speak English, some of them can't, but it's just kind of part of the environment that we're in.
You were talking to me about a woman who had a baby and came up and talked to you?
Yeah, you get this often, and it's not just there. What happened was years ago, my mother was taking care of a little child that the mother, she had a lot of issues, drug issues and stuff, and we kept that child for about 4 or 5 months, and when the lady finally showed up and said she wanted her baby back, it was total disaster for my mom. It was devastating to her, and so when I was in Nam over there in the prison, they had a lady that she wanted to know if I'd take her baby home. And this happens, it happened often, they come up and, hey, can you take my baby to America and let him grow up there in America and become an American citizen.
And did that actually happen?
No. At the time that we were over there, no, we were not allowed to getting involved. We weren't really basically allowed to be that involved in talking to the people and everything, getting too friendly with them and stuff. We were supposed to be just, they were the prisoners. We just, it's just things that a lot of things that went on that a lot of people didn't know that we were doing over there. A lot of things happened. It's kind of it's our own feeling how we felt about some of those things.
And what happened after you left after 13 months when you left the prison camp?
Well, when I left prison camp, we came back in October of '67. Got back home, and we was home until about January of '68. And then we heard that there was a big Tet offensive going on, which means that the North Vietnamese were making a big push to South Vietnam to start a big battle. And we were informed about that. And some of us that were already been to Vietnam, we decided, what the heck, we're going to go back and go help out.
So you chose to go back?
We chose. Some of us chose to go back, but then they had a lot of new guys that were being sent over there to replace some of the older guys that were been there for already. Some of the guys that already had a tour and were about ready to come home, they were already sent troops over. We had, during that time in '68, it was the Tet Offensive, we had over 500,000 troops over there, so there was people going back and forth and being sent home, battle, people being injured, killed, all that stuff's going on. I mean, this is, it was a very, very rough year for us, in '68. And I ended up being a grunt that time. They sent me out in the field, so I was out in the battlefield.
So you're out doing patrols? And
We do patrols 24/7.
yeah. And how long were the patrols?
We go out for 5-6 hours at a time, and some of us. It just depends on what area you're in. Some other areas, they can be out there longer than that. They can be out there 2 to 3 weeks at a time.
And so you saw a lot of action then on your second tour.
Yeah, that was all my share of it, yeah.
Were you ever hit, ever shot?
No, I was never shot. I got injured, but I wasn't shot or anything. But a lot of guys around me, they were being hit or something. I've done. I had my time when I had actually carried one of our guys out that was killed behind me, and we had to take him home. I had to pack him up and or pick him up and put him on and carry him out. And it's those kind of things, it's something that stays with you forever. You don't lose any of that.
Losing somebody, yeah. So you said that the enemy weren't the only dangers you had to face over there.
That's right. I mean, there was, they had tigers over there. They had elk over there north. They even have what they call rock apes. Rock apes are monkeys that they can actually come up to your perimeter, and they at night sometimes, and they would make a screaming sound out there like it sounded like somebody was being killed or something. And it's really kind of chilling because you'd be sitting there real quiet, and all of a sudden that thing will start making that noise, and it just about scare the crap out of you. And you just, you're ready to just cut loose right there, But and the other thing was snakes. The big thing was snakes over there, and bugs and just all kinds of those.
And you said they had two kinds of snakes over there.
No, they had, there was, what it is that a vet came up and talked to me one day, and he says, hey, he says, Mac, I said, I got to tell you, he says, there's 100 different kinds of snakes in this area. He says, 99 are poisonous, the last one squeeze the heck out of you. So what do you chance you got, And we did kill some snakes, and I had a viper go across my chest one day, and I mean, ever since then, it's just snakes are not one of my things. Yeah.
So what are you doing that the viper goes across your chest?
You run like hell, or get up and move as quick as you can. Hopefully, as long as he's moving the other way, so you're gone too, yeah.
Well, tell me about some of your military buddies and stuff. What it was like to be living in that condition.
Oh, we had our good times and we had our rough times. I mean, it's, we get together, we go to the club and get drunk, or we drink a lot, and we had a party or something, we can, when we were in Tet, we were back at the perimeter, and back at our base, they had a nightclub. And they had beer for us, and we would go in, drink our beer and stuff every night if we could, And when you're not on patrol or something, or you're not on duty, you're able to go there and have a good time. And we had some really good friends. I had a lot of good friends over there. Met a lot of guys. In fact, one of the guys that I met for my first tour, I was in touch with him for quite a while, and he was kind of like I kind of looked at him as a big brother. He kind of watched out for me, and he kind of took care of it. If I got in trouble or something, or got too drunk or something, he took care of me.
Was to have a buddy have your back?
Yeah, it was good to have your back, yeah, exactly.
So did you lose any of your buddies, or?
Yeah, I think everybody that was in Nam, they got somebody that's probably on the Vietnam Wall itself right now that they either know or they was with over there. Yeah. I lost one of my guys right behind me, and in our platoon, well, actually he's in our platoon, and he was right behind me. And he was a brother of another brother that was over there. There was two brothers, and he's the one that got killed. And normally they don't send two brothers at one time over in Nam, at the same time. And they just happened to let them do that, I guess. But yeah.
Well, Vietnam was like your standard war, like World War II and stuff, with its front lines and wearing uniforms and everything else. It was guerrilla warfare. It was people without uniforms at all living in the indigenous population. You had a hard time figuring out who was enemy, who was friend.
Yeah, you just never knew. It's just like in the daytime, the Vietnamese be out there working out in the field and stuff, and you don't know if they were friendly or not until at night. Then you find out.
So how do you have peace? How do you rest in a situation where you can't tell if the people visiting your camp are going to blow you up or not?
Well, that's why you're over there. You're on guard all the time. You're just totally, you always have guards out, and you always have patrols going on, and that's what the patrol is for, to keep the area secured and making sure that if there is enemy coming your way, that you are informed, and that's just one of the things that you do. And people, a lot of things that goes through the person's mind. It's just incredible what happens to you. You're a whole different person when you're over there. You don't realize how much you change until you actually come back and you go and you have people say, "Hey, who are you? I don't know you anymore," or because you're a whole different individual.
So what changes?
Your whole perspective of life, in a sense, I think, and you end up with a lot of issues, mental issues. PTSD is one of the big things that causes people to have issues. That's from any kind of trauma of any sort that goes on. It's kind of like even, if a person goes out and gets a car wreck, but he lives through it, or they live through it, but they still have that trauma that goes through their mind, and that's the same with the war. You deal with this stuff. And of course, when we got back from Nam, we didn't have that option of being treated good. We didn't have the option of going in and getting treatment. We didn't. They didn't say, "Hey, you need to go see a psychiatrist," or "You need to go see a doctor." We figured this out mostly ourselves. The only one that maybe got some help at times was maybe the wounded.
So you're basically just dumped on the streets as a civilian and told to fend for yourself?
You're told to, when you get let go, you're on your own. You were on your own at that time. You didn't have the option of coming back and going through kind of a program or something like they have now for the National Guard and for the troops that are over there now. They don't. We actually, in my mind, the Vietnam has actually made way for the new troops today to get help.
In what ways?
In many ways, getting more help for PTSD, getting help for benefits, getting help for, just anything that they need help with, and health care and things like that, and making sure that they were treated with respect when they got back and not dumped on or being looked upon as you're a baby killer or you're, you know.
When World War II ended and our troops came back, there were parades down the main streets of New York, and citizens were yelling and screaming for joy and everything else. But when you came back, what instructions were given to you?
When we got home, I got to base, they were going to let us get out. We were getting ready to get out of the military or something, you know. Or they said, don't wear your uniforms, you know, and wear civilian clothes so that you wouldn't be attacked or something by some civilians or something that protesting the war and things like that. So, and that's one of the things that I had a hard time living with, in a sense that I couldn't be proud of who I was. You know, I had to be hidden. I had to hide myself from the world, in a sense. You know, I couldn't let out to anybody, hey, you know, this is what I did. You know, and I could be proud of what I had to do. So, yeah. And that's the way thousands of our men were. I mean, you know, 500,000 troops in Nam. Look at what happened. You know, you got 58,272 of them on the wall, and you got the rest of them have been damaged, or they, you know, Agent Orange has been effective for limited vets, but I mean, there's a lot of these people, they die from shooting themselves, killing themselves. The rate today is just incredible. I mean, you know, somewhere like 22 a day are dying because of the trauma and everything they went through.
So things like PTSD, which is a real debilitator, I mean, it can destroy your mind and stuff and make you incapable of functioning around other people and stuff.
Yeah.
But when you got back, that didn't exist. That condition was unknown.
You know, yeah, we didn't know what it was. In fact, it wasn't until the 80s, the early 80s, that they knew exactly what PTS was. I mean, you know, it was a whole different battle for us. We didn't have a clue. We just, you know, in World War II, the shell shock is what they called it. You know, and that's what it was titled, the shell shock. Now it's PTSD, post-traumatic stress, and that's.
But what was it like coming back, not only not having a parade, but not being able to wear your uniform, not being able to talk about the fact that you just served your country and put your life on the line for several years and stuff? What was it like knowing that you were despised because you did your duty to your country?
You know,
That had to hurt.
Yeah, it was, you know, I just kind of, in a sense, I tried to put it out of my mind, in a sense. I went about by just not even talking about it, you know. And I just went forward to where I was just, you know, I just tried to put it out of my mind somewhat. I mean, it was hard at night. I couldn't do it at night. You know, your dreams, everything, and the things we, you know, even today. But I tried to get to go see my friends and stuff and hang around them, and they was kind of the support, in a sense, of doing that. And as far as, you know, going out and doing things with them and just putting your mind away on a different.
Trying to put it behind you.
Put it behind you.
You said that you did a lot of drinking over there to deal with the stress and stuff, way of dealing with it. What did you do here? You said visiting friends and stuff like that.
Well, we had parties. I do my drinking here too. You know, I finally give up drinking, but you know, I mean, that's not one person that doesn't really come home, doesn't do something, you know. But as people, a lot of people were on drugs. We had drugs over there, and a lot of people back here at home, they didn't realize that the Viet Cong, they were drugged. A lot of those people were just out of their minds. They were on dope and everything else. I mean, you know, opium and everything else. I mean, they were high when they come at you, and a lot of that drug carried over to when the people come home. I mean, the guys kept using it, and a lot of your guys died from it. Some of them killed themselves. Some of them got in trouble. They're in prison or whatever. So, yeah.
Well, wars like Korea and World War II and stuff, you were fighting soldiers. But in Vietnam, a lot of the people that were coming at you were children. They're teenagers and stuff.
It's the same kind of the similar to what's going on with Iraq and everything. I mean, look at the using women and using kids. They're not, a lot of them are young kids. They're only 14, 15 years old or younger. We had kids over there. They made them come out and come up to a troop or one of the guys and say, hey, and then pull the pin and blow themselves up. I mean, that's just, there's a lot of that went on during the war.
Well, it was actually a police action and not a war for the longest time. So the military's hands were tied. They weren't allowed to go on the offensive.
Yeah, there was a lot of the politics was involved. Politicians got involved. There was times that you may have the enemy out in front of you, but you're not allowed to shoot until you call it in and say, hey, we got the enemy over here.
They got to fire at you first.
Yeah, you got to be fired upon before you can fire back. What kind of deal is that? I mean, that's the whole problem with any war. You don't tell your troops not to go out and fight a battle and tell them they had to call in before they could shoot their guns.
Well, I was terrified when we went into Desert Storm thinking, what if our politicians decide to fight that war from the White House again like they did in Vietnam, which proved to be completely disastrous.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that.
No. With General Shortcroft, he had the right idea. Let our guys go. Let our guys do the job that they're sent in to do. Don't hold them back. Don't be somebody back in the States in the office in the White House saying, hey, don't do this, don't do that. Let our men do the job they're supposed to do.
Right. We're either at war or we got no business being here.
If you don't want to do it, stay out of it. Yeah.
So, would you say that you came back from the Vietnam damaged property, or would you say that...
I am damaged, yeah. Well, actually, yeah, I have my issues. I got PTSD and I've been injured when I was over there. I got, a lot of, some back problems. In fact, I just had knee surgery from a knee injury that I had over there, and they just redid a knee replacement. And it's okay, but it's not full functional. I mean, it's not fully functional as far as being able to totally use it like I used to. They got me now as 100% disability. It's because of all the issues I dealt with and I'm still dealing with. Even though I may look like I'm okay, but on the inside, it's a whole different world for a person. And don't always, when you see a vet, they may look fine on the outside, but there's something on the inside that could be really hurting that guy.
I asked you before the show if you were glad that you went into the military, and you said that you were.
I was. I actually, I benefited out of it. I mean, it taught me a lot. You learn a lot of discipline. You learn a lot to be thankful for when you get back home. You see countries that you would never get to see. You understand that what you have back here in this world, we're living pretty darn good.
Would you say that it turned a boy into a man?
Yeah.
I'd say that if you go out to warfare, that's when it turned a boy into a man.
Yeah, because you're only 16, 17, 18 years old. You're 18 years old. You're going into a battle.
Looking at the end of your life.
Yeah, and you're not a full grown up until you maybe reach your 30, 40 years of age. Because there's so much you learn from that whole time, from the time you get out of school, from the time till you're about 30, 40 years old, and then you start learning a little bit more. And even then, you're still learning. But yeah, we grew up, when we got to Nam, we had to grow up fast. We had to be in charge. We had to do things that we never imagined of doing.
So how long were you in the military?
I was signed up for 4 years, and they let me out 9 months early, because I spent 2 tours in Vietnam. And they had a program that started once they started getting people back after, especially when the things settled down from the Tet offensive, that they started letting people go home. I had spent, if you spent a tour in Nam or more than 2 tours in Nam or whatever, or you spent your time in Vietnam, you got out early, and they gave me a 9-month early out because I had 2 tours in Vietnam, and they said, hey,
Your second tour, you were a sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
So that meant that you were in charge of...
I was in charge of my squad and everything. I was a squad leader. Yeah.
So you had how many people's lives underneath you?
I had 14.
14? And so you have your seasoned soldiers who have been out in the bush a few times, and then you have those greenies come in and stuff. And
Yeah.
how'd you deal with that?
I just deal with the guys, and I sit down with them and we just chat a lot. We just talk about all kinds of things and got to know one another a little bit. And they knew I was, I've had my duties and they had their duties, and they understood. And we dealt with that, and we worked it out, and we go out and we partied together or something, we had a good time. And you just treated them like, anybody. I mean, it's just, hey, you take care of one another.
But you can't be close to somebody in that situation, not draw close to them, but you don't necessarily want to draw close to them because you might be carrying them home in the body bag tomorrow and stuff. How do you deal with stuff like that? Where you want to care for the person next to you, but caring carries a very high price.
For me, and it's different for everybody over there. I mean, there's some guys, everybody has a different aspect of it. They work it differently or something. Not every person's the same in how they work with their guys. Everybody's different. For me, I always grew up as treat everybody as equal. My dad he would actually sometimes bring somebody home from a bar one time or something and say, hey, come stay here and help them out and let them stay a couple of days and send them. Then they go down the road, and I was kind of grew up that way and helping people, And so when I had all these guys that I had in charge of, they had to. We just became, known to work with each other, and then some of us became very good friends, and on top of that, we just went out and did our job, and if somebody got hurt, which I lost a couple of guys in my squad, and we did everything we can to hopefully save their lives.
So what did you do after the military? You got back, you said they let you out early, which implies to me that you wanted to get out.
Yeah, I was ready to get out. Dad did not want to stay in. And in fact, they tried to re-up and they would try to get you to re-up sometimes. And I told them, I said, I'm gone. I think I was in there for not even 2 minutes talking to the captain, and I was out the door. They send me home.
Now, at some point, you met your wife.
Yes, and back in '91, actually.
And how'd that come?
I've been married before. I've been married a few times, and it's just been, that's where a lot of that PTSD comes in, is that there's things that happen to you and happen to your marriage, and it's a struggle. But my wife, she's actually Air Force. She was in the Air Force. And so I met her in '91 in a singles group. I was down in Medford. I moved down to Medford from the coast in Coos Bay, and I met her in a singles group. And we got to know each other, I think, and we've been together ever since. We've been married 20 years, and it's been going great.
You have children?
Yeah, she had, not between the two of us, she had two kids, I had 2 kids, and they're grown up, and they got their own kids now, and we're grandparents, and we got 11 grandkids.
Nice. I forgot to ask you, growing up, did you have any brothers or sisters?
I had 2 sisters, so yeah, I didn't have any brothers.
And between your siblings and your children, any of them military?
No, my nobody other than my uncles were military. My dad wasn't. My dad couldn't go in the service because when he was a kid, he chopped off a couple fingers when he was younger, and they wouldn't take him because they felt his trigger finger wouldn't work. But yeah, sure enough, he could go out and shoot a deer or anything else, and he's fine. But my sisters, one sister, she's a truck driver. She's been a truck driver for over 40-some years. She started out when she was a kid, and when she was 18 or 17, she could start driving. And she started out driving a log truck, and she's been driving a truck ever since then. And my other sister, she's done a lot of things in her life too.
Well, in closing, is there any question I should have asked you?
I couldn't think of any. I mean, I think you probably pretty much covered everything, but it's I'm just, like I said, I'm just glad today that, we have a Women Veterans Conference going on, and we're helping our people more today than we have in the past, and I'm just pleased to know that we are doing a heck of a lot better job than we have. The government still has a lot of work ahead of them, and they still have a lot of things they need to change, but we're getting there.
One of the things that changed, and I want to get your feeling on it, is how do you feel about women in combat?
I've always felt that, if women could handle the job and they could do a good job, and let them have it. It's kind of like in the workplace. When I worked in the mill, I remember back in '72, I think it was, we was working for Weyerhaeuser Company in a plywood mill, and they said, we're going to start having women coming in working here. So they had to take down all the pictures and everything in the mill and everything, Playboy pictures and all that. And we were like, oh my God, we got to work with women. No way, man, But I worked with a gal on the plywood plant, and she was a heck of a worker. I'll tell you what, I would take her over any of the guys that I work with sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, it's the person, not the sex.
It's the person, not the sex.
Well, Russ, thank you for joining us on the Veterans
Well, I
History
appreciate it.
Project.
Thank you very much.
We enjoyed having you here.